Welcome back to Starfish Coaching. Usually I don't do product reviews on my channel, but being a designer myself, I wanted to give you a comparison between the Microsoft Surface Pro and also the Samsung S8 Ultra. As a designer, which one do I like to use more for my design tool? So let's jump into that right now. As a designer, I use both of these devices, and most importantly is because of the pen for my drawing and my PDF drawing markups. They both have that, and they're both great devices. This video, I want to dive in to see what the differences are, the pros and the cons, and also finally give you feedback from me as a designer, which one is more suitable for my workflow. I've had the Microsoft Surface Pro for about 2 years now, and I really do love it. It's a full Windows desktop, and it does everything that I need and want. And the pen with the PDF markup drawboard app is amazing for a designer. The Samsung S8 Ultra just came out this year, and I really like the large 14-inch display on it, which gives me a lot of surface space for my drawing apps. Okay, let's jump into this now. This is the S8 Ultra, and the form factor is very similar to the Surface. It's got a kickstand to the back, and I purchased it with the backing and the keyboard. You can buy that separately. So separately, it's a tablet, and also you can take the back off. It's all magnetic, so it's quite good, and it becomes this tablet. So here are a few things I really do like about the S8 Ultra. The large screen 14-inch diagonal is amazing, especially when you're drawing and you have the drawing apps open. There would be tools on the sidebar and everything, so your canvas remaining actually becomes quite small on the Surface Pro. This one's nice that way. The stylus itself is a really nice stylus. It beats my Samsung S22, which is this small device here. The hold is much better, and the latency is much better on the S8 than the Surface, and I'll show a comparison. The way it's designed is actually quite nice. It's magnetic at the back, and if you buy the kickstand, there's actually a slot for it which protects your stylus. That's one of the things that I actually was worried with my Surface Pro, is that it just clips to the side, so I was worried that when I put it in and out or handle it, it might just slip and I never know where it is. It hasn't happened to me yet on the Surface Pro, but Samsung goes one step further and actually gives you a back that protects it. Now, the magnet actually also sticks onto the top here, so that's nice. The stylus itself is a matte finish, and it's got a nice grip on it. The one thing I don't like is this button. It always gets in the way when you're drawing, because that's exactly where your finger is. So I think that's a poor design. They haven't thought it through for the drawing people. There's 2 settings that you can shut off in the settings, so that when you actually try to press this, it doesn't call up the stylus menu, which is annoying when you're in the flow of drawing. Other things that I do like about this is the speakers. It's got amazing sound, so if you are listening to tunes while you're drawing, this is perfect for that. The accessories that you can get with this is actually quite nice. The backing on it protects it, and it's just a snap-on. So there you go, and there's a kickstand that folds out like the Surface, and you can be standing it just like that. Plus, you can get the keyboard for it. The keyboard itself is a full-size keyboard, which is really nice. It's got a trackpad. The only I don't like about the keyboard is there is no angle to it like the Surface does. It just lays flat. And although it may seem like a minor difference, you can definitely tell on the comfort of it. The other thing I notice is with my Surface Pro, I can actually put it on my lap, which is not a flat horizontal surface, and still type and be productive about it, because there's actually a thickness and a backing to the keyboard. But this one, I noticed there's a lot more flex, and you can hear that. So when you're trying to work on a non-flat surface like your lap, the trackpad actually doesn't click if there's a bend to it. Another thing that's really good about this tablet is the rear and the front camera. They're both high quality cameras, but the fact that there's a front camera actually allows you to do Zoom conferences and online meetings. Plus there's a feature in here which will track your face. So if you're moving side to side, it will track you. There's a lot more videos out there that talk about that. I won't dive into it. Okay, here are some things that I actually don't like about the Samsung S8. Once you've put all the accessories on it, it's actually heavy. It's heavier than my Surface Pro, which I was a little bit disappointed because I was hoping because it's not a full computer, it's a tablet, it would be lighter, but that's not the case. Also, if you are looking to use this as your desktop replacement, I'd say it's very tough. Samsung has made it very close with the Samsung DeX, which is their OS that applies to it and make it feel like a desktop, but it doesn't completely replace it. It won't be that productive powerhouse that I need for my full-time computer. For instance, one of the things that I use on my computer a lot is Outlook, and Outlook on the desktop version is much more powerful than the Android version. The Android app is good, don't get me wrong, but there are some features that you can't get without the desktop version. The other thing that it hasn't been able to replace is the File Explorer. So this is still an Android. If you manage a lot of files, and especially if you bring it to Office with network, then the File Explorer that Windows has is still much better. Okay, now let's look at the Surface Pro and see how that compares. So this is my Surface Pro, and there's a kickstand. This has been out for a while, so I'm sure you're familiar with it. I won't get too much into it. The screen is smaller, and the keyboard is smaller, but it's still a great keyboard. I like the tilt on it, like I was saying. That extra angle there really does make a difference when you're typing for a long time. That slight incline is very nice. The trackpad is not as large as the S8, but like I said, it's more of a rigid backing, so when you are working on your lap, you can still use this trackpad fully functioning. The pen itself is slightly larger than the S8, so I'll compare that for you now. You can see here, it's slightly larger, slightly heavier, so it's got a nice feel to it. And I think what Microsoft did well is they actually put the button, Microsoft also has a button here, they put it on the back side, on the flat part, which I think just that little difference actually makes a difference. Because as I told you, my S8, I keep on hitting this button where my pointing finger is, and it just annoys the heck out of me when I first got it, so I had to shut off the features. But the way that Microsoft placed it is actually quite well. The other thing I like about their stylus more is the top button is a clicker, which you can program to do certain things. Like one thing I did was programmed for a screenshot, so as simple as 2 clicks gives me a screenshot. The other thing is it acts as an eraser on the drawing app, so you can just take it and flip it to this side and use it as an eraser, which is very convenient. It feels much like a normal pencil. My S8, it doesn't do that, and sometimes I still catch myself trying to flip it and erasing it, but you have to, it's one extra step now. You have to go and hit the eraser tool and come back. So it's just a little bit more disruptive. The other thing that I really like about the Surface is actually an app called Drawboard. If you are an interior designer or an architect that deals a lot with PDF, it's definitely an app you need to look into. It's a PDF markup app, but I use it for everything almost. Just a simple markup, for instance, but also sketching on a PDF. It is a great app by itself, and that's one of the main reasons I stuck with the Surface Pro. This is my second Surface now, and it's mainly because of that app. Of course, this is a full computer, so there's a lot of benefits to that. This has been my only device, computer plus drawing device together for the last 2 years. So I've been very happy with it. And I think there's benefits to having it as a full computer. You can run any Windows app. It's got the File Explorer if you manage a lot of files on your Office network. And also Outlook. It's a full running Outlook, full Microsoft Office suite if you need that. And other things as a designer that I can't do on a tablet yet is PowerPoint and Photoshop for my client presentations. And also AutoCAD is another thing, although this is small. Also, this can use AutoCAD because it's a full desktop. Although I don't use AutoCAD much on here because of the small screen when I'm on the go, if I do need it, I can just plug into my external monitor and it acts as a full desktop. That's the one thing that the S8 cannot do. Okay, here are a couple of things that I don't like about the Surface Pro. They are minor, but they are small gripes. The small screen, sometimes when I'm drawing, I do wish that it was a larger canvas area remaining for me. And then also the pen itself, the latency on it is a little bit slower. You do notice it. The third thing is I don't like the Windows OS and how laggy sometimes it gets. Now, this is not the Surface itself, it's really Windows itself. But I do find that if I have a lot of things open, sometimes it just slows down to a grind and I have to restart often. And this has been pretty normal for Windows devices. I know because I also have a Mac at home and I really do like my Mac OS more. But again, that's not a Surface Pro gripe, it's a Windows gripe. Compared to Android though, the tablet apps are a lot more efficient and I can multitask and have a lot of things open. Okay, so here are some final statements. The big question is, can I use the Samsung S8 as a designer? Yes, as a designer and you're doing drawings, it's a great tablet for that. But can you use it as your only device? I'd say no, especially if you are someone who also needs a lot of office productivity. That's where the Surface Pro still works well. You have the full Microsoft Office suite, you have the File Explorer, you have the Outlook, so all of those can't be replaced. So unless you are really not doing much at all in terms of Office admin or other things like AutoCAD, then you can go as a single device on the S8, but I'd say it's very hard for a designer. Although Dex has been very good as a Samsung OS add-on to mimic the desktop interface, it doesn't replace a full desktop, whether it's Windows or Mac. For me as a designer, I still need access to my AutoCAD, to my PowerPoint, to my full Office suite. So that's where the Surface really shines. And I guess I'm at a crossroad myself because the Surface can do everything and is my single device, has been for 2 years. I was tempted with the larger Surface and the better pen, but the problem for me is I have to now carry 2 devices around. I was thinking that the tablet would be a lot lighter, so I don't mind. I had a Galaxy tablet before and it was a lot lighter, but this one with all the peripherals, it does add up weight. So I find that I actually don't carry both around anymore. I might just leave this at my office or my home as a second device, but it's not getting as much use because I still rely on this. So overall, I think it's very hard to compare these 2 devices. Although they're very similar form factor, both with a kickstand, both thin and light, and they both have styluses, you would think that you can compare the 2, but I think they're quite different. One is a full computer, the other is a tablet. So that is more like comparing apples to oranges. But between those, they are probably the most similar without being in the same category. So I hope this gives you a good idea of these 2 devices and their different pros and cons. If you're an interior designer or an architect looking for a drawing device, then both of these are very good. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm actually going to be doing another review on the S8 itself and focus on the different drawing apps available out there. So it'll be a great one for designers and architects alike.